One, navigating in Release 12i Oracle applications. By the end of this module, you'll be able to understand how to log in and log off in an Oracle applications server, how to navigate into Oracle applications through the way of using responsibilities, menus, and forms, and how to enter data in forms and saving that data. And once the data is saved, then how you can requery that data in the form. Finally, we'll understand the relationship between users, responsibilities, menus, forms, and functions. And then once we understand these concepts, I will take you through a couple of sources which you can use to potentially access further online help. Alright, so let's get started with the first topic of logging on and logging off of Oracle applications. So what I'll do now is, let me just minimize this first. And first thing that you got to do in order to access an Oracle application server is you must have the URL for accessing the server. Okay, so I've got the URL with me already. So all you have to do is you have to simply open the browser and type that URL on the browser address bar. Okay, so out here, so let me just type it. Okay, so that's how the URL looks like. The important thing of this URL is the part which is at the end. You can see that the end, it ends with colon and then there is a number. This number is nothing but the port of in Oracle application server that you use to access the server in the front end. Okay, so anyway, once you type the URL, simply hit the enter button to access the login and password screen. So just hit the enter button. So as you could see now, here is the screen for logging in. So you must have a valid user and login password to enter into Oracle application. So I've got one already, which is E Goldsmith, and the password is welcome. So once you've entered that, simply hit the login button to enter into Oracle applications. So here you will see a couple of components listed on this form. So this is the first form that you get after logging into Oracle applications. On the left hand side, you'll see there is a list out here listed with some names, okay, and hyperlinks built in that. So what are they? They are nothing but something called as responsibilities. So how do you understand responsibilities? A responsibility is something like, take an example of a purchasing manager. The day-to-day job of a purchasing manager can be combined into something called as a responsibility. That's what he is responsible for. For example, a purchasing manager could be responsible for reviewing and approving purchase orders, reviewing and approving new supplier requests, reviewing and approving any receiving material requests, and so on and on. So all that are nothing but his day-to-day responsibilities, is it not? So all that responsibilities you combine into one piece of an entity and place it on to the user. So once the user, for example, E Goldsmith, if he was a purchasing manager user, then you would see one of the responsibilities listed out here as the purchasing manager. So that's the concept of responsibility, and that's what all these responsibilities are. Now within each of those responsibilities, what you will see out here, for example, let me just click on payables manager responsibility. Okay, so as you could see, there is a responsibility called as payables Orange Corporation New Zealand. So if I click on this one, you will see there are a number of sub menus which are listed out there. So these sub menus are nothing but functions that you've grouped together to kind of group similar functions together. Okay, for example, the same example we are talking about the purchasing manager, all the functions related to purchasing you can group together within one menu out here, something like this. Then all functions related to, say, receiving, you could club together in a separate submenu. Similarly, all functions related to supplier management you can club together in a separate menu. So that's the concept of menu. And again, within each of those menus you will find submenus. So basically this is like a hierarchy, and you can use any number of menus and submenus to identify the day-to-day functions and associate it with a responsibility. Now I've been using the term functions, is it not? So each of these functions are nothing but the way to access a form. Okay, so a function, as I was saying, example of purchasing manager, one of the functions of purchasing manager in his day-to-day responsibility is to approve a purchase order, right? So now I've used two words here, a function to approve a purchase order. So there you go, there is a function, and what is that function? That function is purchase order. Now in Oracle applications, how would you go about in accessing that purchase order? You access that purchase order through this function, and this function, as soon as you click on this this link, it will open a form, and that form is called as a purchase order form. As simple as that. So responsibility, menu, form, and function. Now you got the hang of this. Now let's take a similar example for another role. For example, a payables manager, a manager who is dealing with all the account payable departments processing. So his what are his functions or day-to-day responsibilities? It could be something like entering or approving the invoices that have come through the invoice entry clerks. He could be approving the payments to the suppliers, or he could be responsible for reviewing the information in relation to the supplier's payment terms. So these are his, like, say, day-to-day responsibilities. So all that's what I've done, it is, same thing out here. I've made a menu to group together similar functions. So one is like invoice function that groups together all the functions related to processing of invoices or approving the invoices. The second submenu you can see out here is related to functions, wherein related to payment function, wherein I've grouped together all the functions related to the payment processing or payment approval. Similarly, the third function is for reviewing the information of payment terms for suppliers and approving that request related to suppliers, right? So I think by this time you understand the concept of responsibility, menu, and forms and functions. So once you click on each of these links, that what will happen is it will open a form in Oracle applications wherein you can enter the data and save that data in Oracle applications database. So that's how you basically log in into Oracle applications. Now the next thing what we got to learn it is how to log out of Oracle applications. So once you've logged in, processed your day-to-day jobs, and you're done with your day-to-day work and you're leaving for the day, so you have to simply log out of Oracle application before you close your computer system. So to log out, it's again very simple. If you see out here on the top, you've got a function called as logout. So simply click on there and it'll log out you from Oracle applications.